21M, girlfriend, 20F, dumped me, and 2 days later begged for me to take her back. Too long did not read. Girlfriend is mentally ill and traumatized, she dumped me and is begging to be taken back, I am conflicted. Background. We met each other right at the end of high school, and started dating at the end of the summer. She moved to another city a one-day drive away for university, while I stayed in our home city to work and save up money for my university. We made long-distance work, and she would visit on every break, and stay for the summer. From what I have gathered, she is quite traumatized by her childhood and past relationship, but I don't know the details as she has never shared. Mental illness. She has depression and anxiety, and has at a few points taken it out on me. It was always followed with a sobbing apology and a promise to stop, and after the last time it hasn't happened again. I told her I wouldn't be a punching bag, muted my phone, and went to sleep early. All this is to illustrate that she is unstable, but there has been a slow path to improvement. The main pain point. One of the major manifestations of this trauma has been her inability to say, "I love you." At the beginning she just said that it was too early to say it, which I agreed with. After 10 months, I told her that I loved her because I thought enough time has passed. She asked if I was serious, and then chastised me for trying to rush her. Since then I have kept quiet and decided to let her say it when she is ready. She got really drunk during Christmas this year, said it to me, and then in the morning apologized and called it a mistake. This has been the main pain point of the relationship for me. She insists that she does feel that way about me, but it still feels like something is missing. The final day. One night I was hanging out with friends, and after a few drinks I laid everything out for them. It felt really nice to talk to someone about it, and they all gave me their advice. A common thread was that I should talk to her, and explain what was going wrong for me. I did, and she immediately broke up with me. I kept trying to claw it back, but she kept talking about how I could easily find someone better for me, and that she was dead weight dragging me down. I broke down, and stayed inside for 2 days before going to a bar with a friend and getting blackout drunk. I still feel like shit, as this was my first ever breakup. This is the worst I have probably ever felt. Her wanting me back. She called me the afternoon after I got drunk in tears. She talked about how she had pushed her best friend away, and how she had destroyed the best thing in her life. We went back and forth a little so that I could try and understand what she was thinking. She somehow thought that it was an ultimatum? She also said that she talked to her therapist about it, and had been given a lot of advice on how to overcome this. She then begged for me to take her back, and said that she was willing to do anything. I said that I wasn't ready to make any decisions, and that I would call her back in 2 weeks when I would be ready to make my decision. Positives. I am torn on whether or not to take her back. On the one hand, this is a person who I have loved for 2 years. She has been there for every part of my life for those 2 years, and has supported me. I know I have only talked about the bad parts in this post, and that reading those it can seem like a terrible relationship, but it really wasn't. 95% of the time it was amazing, and I want to go back to that feeling. She was my best friend, and I really miss her. I truly do believe that she is remorseful, and that she wants to take steps to make it work. Negatives. Another part of me feels like I was holding up this rotting husk, sacrificing my mental well-being for the sake of the relationship. I am a very happy person, but for the last few months I have had more and more miserable moments. This part feels like this was for the best, and that after this period of pain I will be able to find someone new who can make me feel better than she ever did. What I have done. So far I have a document in my Notes app for conditions that would be required for us to get back together. It includes things like seeing a couples therapist, being more open about her past, and talking to me about problems instead of hiding. I know that this has a chance of not working, and imposing conditions on love seems very cold and robotic. My coworker recently also went through a bad breakup, and told me to start dating again quickly because it helped him. I know this is probably bad advice, but it's worked for me. I already have 2 dates scheduled for next week, and I'm feeling good about those. Chatting with people outside of the situation has been very nice, and I feel has improved my mood. I really feel like an outside and impartial observer would be really beneficial for my situation. All of my friends and family know both of us very well, so it's impossible for them to be impartial. I look forward to reading any advice or insight that you may have for me. Why are you trying to get back with her while you are trying to move on? You're ready to move on if you're feeling good about going on dates. At this age you're supposed to be having fun, not having a ton of turmoil. You also don't need to be pushed away for daring to express your needs. She is also very young, and what she is working through is going to take her quite a bit of time. This does not make her a bad person, but likely not a dateable person for now. She is probably best weeding through all of her trauma on her own so she can come out the other side being a balanced and reciprocal partner. You do not and should not wait around for that to happen. No backsies ever, they don't work out long term. You are not her therapist. You need to move on and hopefully your next partner will be sound of mind. You are too young for any of her bullshit. No matter what the reasons, she's being abusive towards you. You are young and should be having fun. Move on. I stopped reading it, mentally ill. Don't date people who aren't of sound mind. Full stop. 30F dating 30M. My mother F67 hates my boyfriend because he stood up to her. Does anyone have any advice on how to navigate a situation in which your mother now hates your boyfriend and wants nothing to do with him? To elaborate on the backstory, I live with my mom currently. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 8.5 months and we're planning to move in together. We were going to take a bit more time to save while I still could. But that plan has now been expedited after what happened Tuesday. I got a package that my boyfriend bought for me, so while he was over he picked it up to take downstairs so I didn't have to. My mother saw the item in passing. She knows we're wanting to move in together, and once he was downstairs she stated aloud, "You don't want to know what I have to say?" In which my reply was, "No, I don't need to know. I already know what you are going to say." She was going to comment on the money spent. For her to then not 2 seconds after I tell her not to says, "You shouldn't be spending money if you're trying to move out." Now if she paid all my bills or if I didn't have a job I would have let it roll off my back. This time though it upset me, she crossed a boundary I set up not 2 seconds prior. This behavior is nothing new for her. She's done things like this before and purposefully made snide comments under her breath and loud enough for me to hear. Here is where things get messy. I say nothing back to her and instead walk away and go downstairs. My boyfriend can see I'm visibly upset. This isn't the first time he's seen or heard about her treating me badly. I suppose it was the straw that broke the camel's back for him. He goes upstairs and tells her not to worry because he bought it. She made the comment it's her house and she will worry about it if she wants to, in which he replied that it was none of her business and she shouldn't make comments like that to me. She told him it's her house and she can say what she wants. He then called her a narcissist and a bitch and it escalated from there. She told him to get out and to never come back. He came downstairs to try and tell me what was going on, all while trying to help me get my stuff to leave. My mother calls yelling at me to get him and get the F out. I'm in the middle of a panic attack as I don't take being yelled at well nor a high-stress situation that this was becoming. She hangs up before I can get a word in. A few minutes pass and we're still downstairs. I'm trying to make sense of things while gathering my stuff. She calls again to yell at me to get out, or she's calling my brother to kick him out, then hangs up again before I can get any words out. Now I end up leaving with my boyfriend for a few hours before he takes me back home. More drama ensues once I get home and it has been ongoing for the past few days. He is fine with never coming over again as he doesn't want to be around my mom. My mom is happy he is gone because she never liked him to begin with and now she has a solid reason to hate him, whereas before she didn't. I don't think he should have called her a bitch or a narcissist. I understand he was trying to stick up for me since I want for myself most the time. My mom says he should have kept his mouth shut and has now turned my whole family against him in a matter of days. With all that said, there is still much more that has gone on, and it's too much to put in one post. But has anyone else been in a similar situation and can share your story and what happened, how you dealt with it, if things ever got better? I'm still trying to make sense of all this and feel I'm the rope in the middle of tug-of-war between the two of them. I love my mom and she does love me, but she can also be toxic and manipulative towards me, and even my therapist has pointed that out. I do plan to move sooner than later now as I feel my hand has been forced. What is stopping two fully developed adults from getting out of mom's house? Face it. Your mom is horrible. Sure, you love, but she has no genuine respect for you. She does not recognize you as an independent adult. Shut down your feelings for her. Stop letting her rattle you. Once she sees that you are now immune to her anger and viciousness, she may calm down. Learn to live with conflict. It is a natural part of life. Once you get past that, you will be able to minimize the hurt your mother causes you. Your mother is clearly frustrated with the fact that her gown-ass daughter hasn't moved out. You invited a man into her home who made an effort to go up into her space and insult her. In her own home. Sooner rather than later, it's being forced. Girl, you're 30 years old. Your boyfriend sounds like a piece of work. I strongly suspect your mother had good reason not to like him before this blow up. Some serious self-reflection will be of benefit to you. He will call you a bitch someday. He thinks it's okay to call your mom names, he will call you names. Now if she paid all my bills. She does, you live there, do you have any idea what that costs? How out to lunch can a 30-year-old be? I love my mom, then why take such advantage? Obviously you living there in her home is stressing her out, so move out, like you are 30. And you are fighting with your mom. You did say 30 right, or did you mean 13? Move out, you ungrateful child. Also, your boyfriend calling your mom mean names is so crazy, he's a total benchwarmer. I, 28F. Am uncomfortable with my boyfriend's, 34M, best female friend. My boyfriend has a female best friend from college who makes me uncomfortable. They have been friends for around 10 years and have been pretty close, never dated. But he has admitted to me that he used to have a crush on her and in college would go to her apartment at night in the hopes of hooking up with her, and it just never happened. This girl, Taylor, is the kind of girl who flirts with guys for attention and plays dumb to seem cute. I have always felt weird about the way she interacts with my boyfriend. One example is that he invited a group of friends over to watch a football game once. It was pretty cold out and everyone was in hoodies, sweatshirts, etc. Taylor showed up in booty shorts and a tank top. Later in the evening, someone complimented her outfit and she said, "Thanks. I wore it for my boyfriend's name," which I thought was very odd. After months of trying to be friendly with this girl, I got fed up. She has never asked me a question about myself, never made an effort to get to know me, but is always following my boyfriend around. I tell my boyfriend this and how weird she is with me and how some of the things he said about her make me uncomfortable. He was kind of defensive at first but seemed to understand and assured me it wasn't something I should worry about. Taylor went to Europe for a few months and recently returned. I don't follow her on social media, so I didn't know she was back until she randomly showed up at my boyfriend's birthday party. When she showed up, I was talking to other people, and my boyfriend took that time to tell all of his friends and all of my friends that I hate her and to keep her away from me. Which I did not appreciate, as it made it much weirder for me and it felt like he was distancing she and I, so I wasn't included. Maybe making it easier for him to hang out with her without anyone mentioning it to me going forward. I would have preferred that he do nothing, and just let me handle it. Instead of telling everyone we know that I feel weird about her. His reaction made me so uncomfortable. I looked through his phone while he was sleeping. I found texts from them the week prior where he must have seen that she was back in town and he texted her saying, "You're back? Wanna grab lunch?" And her response was that she was busy, but then texted, "I finished my stuff early if you still wanna grab lunch." He never replied. IDK if they got lunch. He didn't mention this to me. But while we were fighting a few weeks later about how he dealt with the situation, I asked if he knew she was back in town. And he said no, he had no idea she was even in the country. So he lied to me. I didn't tell him I knew they had talked before his birthday. I don't know what to do. I have an ex who acted the exact same way with a female friend, who he ended up cheating on me with. So this situation is very triggering for me. Just leave him, he's already admitted his old crush on her, she tries constantly to get his attention. This isn't worth heartache over, you're better off without it all. He likes the attention and values it over you, since he knows it makes you uncomfortable. She sounds like a pick-me kinda girl and it's the worst to try to deal with because they'll play victim. I'd write him a letter, detailing your discomfort within the relationship. If he doesn't take it seriously, I'd personally end it. You deserve someone who respects you, and cares about your comfort. Your guy has a crush on Taylor and she's the elusive woman he can't have. She enjoys having his attention and benefits from it but is not interested in him. Your boyfriend is keeping you around to satisfy his physical needs while she satisfies his ego and emotions. You're the third wheel in this dysfunctional relationship. The problem is not Taylor but your boyfriend. Wish him the best. I have an ex who acted the exact same way with a female friend, who he ended up cheating on me with. From the mouth of the late great genius, Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. My 23 female partner, 24 male, told me that he will switch off his OCD to save our relationship. Is it possible for OCD to be switched off? Me and my partner, PWOCD, have been together just coming up 3 years. The past year has been completely awful. He never showed OCD symptoms till about then. It all went downhill very quickly as his mental health deteriorated. His OCD prevents him and me from using the house properly. For example, if I sit on the couch, he will spend an hour fixing it. He wouldn't let me cook past a certain time at night, or use the bathroom either, because he would have to go after me and fix everything after me. It has been absolute hell for me, and I've brought up how unhappy I am for a very long time, but I've also been trying to offer support for it. He has refused to go to the doctor, so is only self-diagnosed, no therapy, no medication, nothing. Anyway, the point of my post is, I have reached my endpoint and our tenancy ends in 2 months. I told him that I am considering breaking up with him, other reasons involved too. And he has suddenly turned around and told me he can switch off his OCD, as he has been taking me for granted this whole time? I was extremely skeptical and told him how unhealthy that is. But this past week he has done exactly that. He sat on the sofa with me for the first time in a whole year, left dishes in the sink, etc. I feel so lost, and almost like I've either been taking a fool for the past year because he's been lying, or maybe he is just suffering extremely for the sake of our relationship and hiding it well. He told me it feels like I've freed him from his OCD, but I think that this is delusional and feels absolutely surreal. I almost feel like I've been manipulated this whole time. I need some advice from people with OCD of experience in a relationship with someone who has it. Thank you, folded hands. No. If he could switch it off, it would never have been on. This is temporary. Like forcing yourself to do something until you exhaust your willpower. Why hadn't he already sought help? That was your first red flag. He is mentally troubled and avoiding constantly. That is an extremely flimsy lie he told you. There is no way he can switch off his OCD, and any attempt to tell you is probably just a lie, excuse to get you to put up with the fact he hasn't managed his mental health at all. He's a very sick person. If he doesn't actually have OCD, then he played you for a year. You can't just switch it off if it's real. Move out. Nothing about this is okay. No, you can't just switch off OCD. Even if you decide you want to stay with this guy, do not sign a lease with him again in case things revert to the way they were. As soon as you renew your housing and are locked in, he will go back to how he was. Don't stay.